everyone, this is Mary from SVG Cuts, and I'm here today with some brand new projects for summer, for patriotic type of seasons, and also just really anytime. So we've got some really cool Victorian style houses. We've got a couple, a haunted house and a Christmas house, and we've got a church. So I thought it would be really fun to make a little storefront, like a Main Street type of general store. So this is what I came up with this time. And as you can see, it's just all one piece, even though it's two little buildings. So if you want to use it as a really amazing gift box, you could do that because you can put something inside the main building. And then if you wanted to illuminate it, like I've done, you could do that with battery-powered LED lights, whether they're little candles or a string of lights, or you could even illuminate it using lights that plug in to the wall, little LED lights, because it can go through this hole, and then there's a hole between the two buildings so that the lights can go all the way through. So I think this would be really fun to decorate like I've done, sort of patriotic summer style, or of course you could make it for any season or theme if you wanted to make it like kind of spooky for Halloween, or kind of in some darker neutral colors for fall, or of course for Christmas, and you could add, you know, some little Christmas details that would make it look really cute. And of course, if you put it next to our church, if you make that, or next to one of our Victorian houses, I think it would look really cool. So I can't wait to see how you make yours, and it's gonna look awesome. So we've also got some other fun projects to go with it. This is another really fabulous little gift box, however you want to say. And it just opens up like this, and you can put whatever you want inside, and it's powered from the inside with some battery-powered LED lights, which are inside the arrow. So, of course, if you want to make your little gift for someone really special, that's a good way to do that. So we also have a really cute little vintage style wheelbarrow. So you could put some kind of little gift maybe inside a small little plastic gift bag with some little treats or something inside there. That would look really adorable. And then we've also got a cool star-shaped gift bag, and you could totally do this up for Christmas, make it into like a little Christmas ornament even. Or you could do it up for a Halloween or a birthday, or really however you want to give it your own spin. It's going to look really cool because of the dimension on it, makes it just really pop. So finally, we've got a cool little box card to go with everything. And the cool thing about the box card is that it folds flat to go inside of its envelope, but it obviously pops open to look nice and dimensional. So if you give it to someone, they're going to think, wow, that's really cool how it's so dimensional. But as you'll see here in just a minute, it's very easy to put together. So the paper that I used this time, I love, and it's by one of my favorite paper companies, Graphic 45. This one is called Home Sweet Home, and as soon as I saw it, I just fell in love with it because of, as usual, they use some really pretty vintage imagery, and I always love the color scheme that they put together, like with the pretty quilt and everything. So this was a lot of fun to work with. It comes in a couple different sizes, as usual, but like I always say, whatever kind of paper you have in mind for your project is going to look awesome. So I've got all my pieces cut out to show you how all of these items go together. So let's get started. So first I'm going to start with the general store, and I've got the larger of the two little buildings here laid out, and I went ahead and glued a lot of my panels onto it. So on the back side of the house, this is the back and that's the side, there's this three-part little sign here in this back panel, as well as these two bottom panels. So mine are all the same paper, but yours might be three different kinds of paper. And then the side panel there, pretty straightforward. And then I went ahead and glued my vellum on the back behind the front door and the three top windows. And then I went ahead and assembled this window here, which there are two of them, and I'm going to put one together here in just a moment. and show you how that goes through the front. So we've also got a top panel as well as the red trim shutters and the window frames. So when you put the top part together, you want to start by putting these 1, 2, 3 window frames in place, and then you want to put the shutters on, and then you want to put the panel up here onto it finally, as well as the front door. And then there are 2 little rectangles of the same color that go down here. So if you want to emboss those and maybe rub the edge of them with some ink before you glue them on, that would look pretty cool too. So the next thing we want to do is put together our windows and put them through. So to do that, as you can see, I've got all of these areas where it's folded. It's folded very finely here on this little, these 2 vertical areas. So if that's kind of difficult to fold, the way that I did that was I took my cutting machine spatula or any kind of flat, you know, if you have something else flat, and I kind of held that behind it while I gently pinched it to create that fold there. So then these tabs that go around the outer edge get folded towards you, and all the other folded areas get folded away from you. So once you have it folded the right way, we're going to put some glue on that tiny little tab there and hold that as it dries, as well as this other small tab. And then we want to put some glue on this little small tab on the bottom and fold that into place. It only needs a tiny little dot of glue, and then as long as it dries in place, you are good to go. So I've got all 4 of those tiny tabs glued into place. And then the next thing I'm going to do is take my vellum, and it has 2 folded areas there, and then I just want to put a thin line of glue around the edge of my window frame on the inside. And then I can just pop this carefully. Oops, I was not careful enough. I got some glue on the window, which you want to avoid if possible. You can see I got some glue there, so be more careful with yours. And then we can put some glue on these outer tabs all the way around. And then we just want to lay the front of the building right on top of it and push down around all the sides of the window. So next we can go ahead and put some glue along this skinny side tab there and glue the other piece to it along the side. And then we can put glue on this other side tab here. And glue that into place. And you just want to line it up as perfectly as possible. Might help to fold it down and lay it flat so that the edge is really lined up nicely there. And then finally we just want to put glue on all 3 of these tabs going all the way out to the little corners, and then fold that bottom into place. So there is the large building all done here. So let's move on to the roof of it. And the roof has some little trim pieces, which we're going to save until the end here. And there are also 2 long skinny pieces like that, which I went ahead and glued onto the sides there. And then I went ahead and also glued my large roof panels onto the top of it. So for all those little score lines, you want to go ahead and fold all of those. And then we can just start to glue those into place to make the roof take shape. So I'm going to start by putting some glue on this little tab here and this little tab here. it doesn't really matter which corner of the roof you start with. It's pretty self-explanatory, I think. Once you kind of have it in your hands, you can tell exactly where everything's supposed to go. So that's where those two go. And since it's such a small little tab, you might want to hold it for a few extra seconds to make sure that the glue is really dry before you let go. And I'm going to jump across to the other corner and put some glue on those little tabs. And just one at a time, I'm just going to bend those into place and hold them as they dry, giving it a little extra time since they are small. And holding that in place. And if it's too hard to get your finger inside this little space, you can grab some kind of little tool, like a little stylus or maybe the end of a pencil or something, because you just want to hold that in place for a little extra time. So go ahead and do that with the other two corners of your roof. So once your roof is glued together, you can take these two trim pieces and go ahead and glue those right onto the face of the side of the roof there on both sides. So now for the second smaller little building that's part of this, I've got it's kind of made up of two parts. So this is the main part here, these two pieces, and I went ahead and glued these panels and the star and this little bottom panel on here, and then the roof, the small roof panels can go ahead and go on there too. And then this piece is just like that. So there are some other pieces involved here, but we'll get to that in just a moment. So we want to start by gluing these together side to side. And as usual, you just want to line it up as perfectly as possible. And then go ahead and close it up with some glue on the other side tab. So there we go. Might be easier to kind of lay it flat, make sure it's nice and straight. And then we can go ahead and put glue on all three of these tabs, going all the way out to the corners, and fold that bottom into place. So the body of it is taking shape here, the bottom's glued into place. Now all you want to do is put glue on all 5 of these tabs, going all the way out to the little corners, and then go ahead and fold your little roof into place. And there is a little bit of an overhang on the side, but everything else lines up. So there is part 1 of the little smaller building, so we're going to set that aside and do the other part of it, which is this little building. So what we want to do is go ahead and glue your 2 pieces of vellum on the back of this piece, and you can tell the difference between these two because the holes on the one that you want to use are a little bit smaller than the holes on the back side. So this is the front, this is the back. The back has slightly larger cutouts in it. So we've also got 2 sides here, 2 pieces that make up the sides of it. So I want to grab either one of them and put some glue on the side tab and glue one to the other, and then go ahead and do the same thing on the other side with the other side tab. And of course, on the front of this little building, I also went ahead and glued the front door and the window first, and then I put the 2 shutters next to it. And there's also another rectangle that's the same color as the building, so if you want to emboss that or rub some ink around the edge, that would look pretty cool too. So all we're going to do next here is kind of form it into the same shape as the front and the back. And it doesn't matter if you've got it going this way or this way. It's the same both ways. So all we're going to do is glue the front to this And I'm going to start at the bottom by gluing this bottom tab in place to kind of anchor the front of the building here onto that tab. And then you can go ahead and put glue on all of these tabs going all the way out to the corners and just carefully fold that into place so that it's lined up nicely. And as your glue is drying, you can flip it over and kind of adjust it as necessary. So go ahead and do that. So I've got the front glued to the sides here, and now you just want to glue the back side on. So you want these cutouts to line up with the front door and the window. I mean, it's not the end of the world if you do it the other way, but it's meant to line up this way. So go ahead and put glue on all these tabs going all the way out to the corners, and then carefully put the back side into place. So here is my little part of this building all put together. And then the next thing you want to do is take these little roof pieces, and as you can see, I glued this little trim on the front of this large one here, and that just gets glued into place on the top. And then this one here is just shaped like this with a little trim on the face of it too, and that goes on this side. And then this one's the same, except it's got a little side part there, and that just gets glued right onto there. So go ahead and glue all of those onto the top. So I've got the little trim pieces up here on the roof part of my building, and the next thing you want to do, if you would like to emboss this or rub some ink around the edge to make it look kind of like some siding, that would be cool. But I'm going to take this and glue that right underneath with a nice even little border around it. And then what we're going to do, as you can see, these both have holes, cutouts that line up with each other. So what we want to do is cover this face of this larger piece with some glue going all the way out to the corners. And then we want to carefully just put them together. And you want to make sure that the sides are even and the bottom is even and the corners are even. And you definitely want to hold it together a little bit longer than you might normally hold something as it dries, just so that it takes hold, because it's pretty difficult to get inside and really push anything together. So you just want to firmly hold it together for a little while as it dries, and you definitely want it to be lined up nicely, like I said, on the sides and on the bottom. So I'm going to move along a little sooner than I normally would. You should really just hold on to that for a little longer. I'm going to go ahead and move on. I've got this trim piece here, which you want to glue right along the side, and that adds a nice finishing touch, and it kind of hides this seam here a little bit. So you just want a nice even border around that shape. Then you can put your sign in place, and if you've got some pop dots or zots or something like dimensional glue dots, that would be a nice thing to use behind this sign. And then you can go ahead and glue your trim piece right onto the bottom there also. So we can move on to the next part. So the next thing I want to do is glue together these two buildings side to side. So I took the roof off of the larger building, and I've got this one that I just finished here. So what I'm going to do is cover the side of this here with some glue. I'm getting it pretty close to the edge, and I want a nice even coating of glue all around it. And then I'm going to carefully just put these two sides together. So as before, you definitely want the bottom of the two to line up nicely, as well as the sides. So you just want to hold that together, squeeze it from the inside of the larger one so that the glue is really making those two sides take hold. And just take your time, make sure that the sides are even and the bottom is even, and really hold that together for a little while as it completely dries. So the next thing we want to do is put the base together. So I've got all of my base pieces here, and first I've got these two pieces here, and this actually doesn't need to be folded. It's just there to, the score lines are there just as a guideline. So that's going to go together like this and be the top of the base, and then the bottom of the base goes together like this. And the reason that it's two pieces is because this rectangle is too wide for a 12 by 12 cutting mat. So then we've also got this, which is going to go on at the end to sort of reinforce the top of the base. Then we've got two pieces like this. One of them I already put together, but those are just going to go inside the base as reinforcement. And then we've got these long pieces, which are the sides of the base. So we might as well go ahead and glue the sides together, side to side. So to do that, I'm going to put glue on the side tab of one of them. Doesn't matter which one, as long as you're forming a rectangle. So that means we need to go, a long one needs to go next to a short one, and then another long one, and then the final short one. So go ahead and glue your sides together, side to side, and close it up so that it forms a rectangular shape that we're going to put the top and bottom onto. I'm almost done. I might as well just finish it up here and glue that together. So we want to make sure these are folded over, and those are the sides of our base. So next, let's take the top of the base here, and I'm going to put glue on this tab, and I want to line it up as perfectly as possible, just right along that score line as a guideline to form a large rectangular piece with these cutouts in it. Then we can go ahead and put some glue on the back side of this piece, which is going to reinforce the top. And you can take your time a little bit more than I am with your glue so that it's a little more precise if you would like. And then I just want to center that so that each of these holes is showing through the same amount going all the way down. And then this piece is the same, just with no cutouts. So we will glue that right into place on top, just right up against the other piece. So now we can go ahead and glue this onto the sides here. And it doesn't matter if the sides are like this or like this, it's the same on both sides. So first I'm just going to glue one of these tabs into place to anchor this piece to the other one. And I'm going to make sure that those corners and the edge are lined up really nicely. And I'm going to flip it over and push down from the inside. And then I'm going to fold this out of the way and put glue on these 3 tabs here and fold this over into place. So my top is glued onto my sides, and the next thing I'm going to do is flip that over and put together my reinforcement pieces. So I've got the smaller one here. They both go together the same way, and they're going to be completely hidden. They're just there to add some support inside the base. So they don't need to look pretty, they just need to lay flat. And as that dries a little bit, I also put together this one already, same thing, just larger. And then I'm going to cover one side of this with glue and just put that just anywhere centered right here on the one side. And then the same thing with this other reinforcing piece right here on the other side. So the next thing we can do is take the final two pieces of our base and put some glue on this side tab. And just like before, this score line that's on here is just there as a guideline to help you line it up nicely to form the large rectangle here. And then all we want to do is cover all four of these tabs with glue going all the way out to the corners and put some glue on these guys, and then just pop this right into place. Either way, doesn't matter. So the next thing you want to do once your base is complete is put some glue on the bottom of these two, on the bottom of this, and we want it to be pretty close to the edge so that it really takes hold, but not so much so that it's going to be oozing out the side, hopefully, once you put it in place. And once you've got the whole bottom of it covered with glue, we are going to put it in the center, and you want there to be about equal space around the back side and around the sides. So as long as it looks even, so that the side is the same distance from the edge on both sides and the same distance on the back. So what I'm saying is you want an even border around the two sides and the back. Then you know that it is in the right place. And there is a little wiggle room, so as long as you feel like there's a nice even border, then you are going to be all set to move forward with the rest of the project. So I'm going to gently push down kind of firmly, make sure that that glue is taking hold and the corners are down and everything, and then we can move on to the porch. So now for the porch of our house, we've got this long piece here as well as 6 columns which look like this. So the first thing you want to do is put together your 6 columns. So to do that, we want to put a line of glue along this side tab here and fold that into place. And it helps if you lay it flat, then you know that you've got it nice and straight. And then you just want to put some glue on these three little tabs and fold over that top, bottom, same difference. So you want to go ahead and do that on both sides. And go ahead and do that with all 6 of your columns. And you can kind of lay it flat and give it a good look and make sure that it's nice and straight. And then we can glue together the large piece here. So this is just basically just a very long rectangle. So we just want to put some glue all the way along this long tab here. And fold that into place. And again, it's nice and easy because you can just lay it flat so that you know it's nice and straight. And then, just like the columns, you want to go ahead and glue the sides into place. So go ahead and glue both of those sides into place like this. So I've got all 6 of my columns done here, and the next thing we want to do is put a nice fat dot of glue on the bottom of each one, and then put it inside each little hole. And it should slide in there just perfectly. And if you're having a hard time getting it through there, just kind of wiggle it side to side until it slides right in. And go ahead and put all 6 columns in just like that. So the next thing we want to do is put our long rectangular shaped piece into place, and we want the face of it to be flush with the face of each column. So to do that, I'm going to put a nice little fat dot of glue on top of each column, and then I'm going to put a line of glue on one side, whichever side you think looks the least nice. If they're both nice, then it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to slide this into place so that it's evenly spaced and centered. And then if I need to adjust any of these columns so that they are flush with the front of it as the glue is drying, I can just kind of adjust those a little bit. And just kind of hold it into place, making sure that it's centered and all those columns are flush. If you want to take off the roof and just gently push from the inside to make sure that it's taking hold, you can do that. And then for the smaller building, just kind of gently push it together. And as it's drying, again, you just want to make sure that the front of those columns are flush with the front, because we're going to put a decorative piece on the front to cover that up. So you might want to give it a few extra seconds or an extra minute to dry. I'm going to go ahead and move on here. So if you have something you can put underneath your house to kind of tilt it up a little bit, that helps. And then we are going to just glue this right into place. So you want to flip this over and cover it with a nice even little layer of glue. And if you want to skip the glue on those really skinny pieces, you can, as long as you've got glue on the larger parts of it, that's okay. If you're feeling really meticulous, you can cover even those skinny parts with glue. And then we just want to carefully center this so that everything goes right into place on the face of the porch. And that finishes it off nicely, makes it look like one solid piece with some nice little details. So now we can take this part. So this is all one piece, and it's also got a decorative part glued on top of here to kind of reinforce it also. So once you've got that glued onto this piece, you can go ahead and glue these side tabs. Oops. Actually, you can skip the glue on that edge for now. Just put it on this bottom part here. And on the other side, on the bottom side tab. I've got so much glue all over my fingers. I'm like gluing this to myself. So now we can put glue on these side tabs as well as along the bottom, going all the way out to the edges and everything. And then we can just center this right on the face of the larger building and glue that right into place. So now all that's left to do is put our decorative elements on, which are some little signs, some little patriotic bunting. You can, kind of get creative if you want and do it differently than I did. This little sign gets folded like this. You just want to put a little bit of glue between that top part, and then you can glue it on the bottom inside your porch, wherever you want it. And then we've got our three-dimensional stars here. So what I did was, for each of those folds, you go away from you, which is a valley fold, and then alternate with a mountain fold going all the way around, and that creates some nice dimension. And then each of these little inner tabs gets kind of bent so that it creates a flat area inside. So you can put some glue on these interior tabs and glue whichever of your decorative stars you want in place. And then I took some three-dimensional pop dots and put them back there and just glued them around my house, and it looks cute. And then for these little signs, this large one, I put a pop dot here and I put that up on top. You can put them wherever you want. I put this one over here, and then there are three little signs plus a longer one that I have hanging down. And the way that I did that was I just used some Scotch tape and a little bit of thin wire, and I taped some wire to the back, I folded it, and then I taped it inside up here. So let me grab my finished one. You can see that how I have these on here with just some wire, and all I did was I just Scotch taped those into place. So just one final note, I forgot to mention that there are two little white rectangles left over at the end here, which are the little doormats, and I embossed them and I rubbed some ink on them just to give them some more texture and dimension. And I also rubbed that same light brown ink pad all over the base and the porch just to kind of make it look more rustic. So next, for our lighted arrow gift bag, I've got the two main pieces of the bag here, and we want to start by putting the bag together. So I went ahead and glued these two side panels into place, and then we've got this piece which I glued these two strips onto. So the nice thing about these letters is that we don't have to individually glue each letter into place, so it just shows through the right way. And as you can see, I did not put glue here or here because that kind of sticks off the sides. So we just want to center that so the letters look nice. And then we want to take this piece and glue that onto the back. So to do that, I'm going to put some glue inside the letters and around the edge of this piece, and just glue that right onto the back. So that looks nice, and it was nice and easy. So the next thing we can do is put some glue on just this bottom side tab and glue the back of the bag into place. And then we can put glue on just the other bottom side tab. And glue the bottom, or glue the back side into place. So I'm going to flip that over so I can push down from the inside. And then cover these tabs with glue going all the way out to the corners and fold that bottom into place. So I've got my bag together, and as you can see, this back flap is loose, and then we just want to put this panel with its two layers, and I did not choose the best looking paper for this one here, but you get the idea. That just gets glued right on top there. So the next thing you want to do, if you are going to light up your arrow like I've done, and in your PDF document it tells you exactly the product number and everything of this string of 20 LED lights that I got on Amazon. So what we want to do is feed this through. We want the lights to be coming through. So as your lights they're coming out of your bag here, we also want them to come through this back side of the arrow. So the next thing you want to do is feed all those lights through so that they're coming all the way through this backside of the arrow. All the way through that hole with the battery pack inside. So you want to pull all 20 of them all the way through and then put that inside. And we can go ahead and close it up if you want. Okay, so now we can work on our arrow. So the arrow has these two pieces, which are the sides, and a piece of vellum. This is the back side of the arrow. And then these two look very similar, except this one has a triangle cut out of it to designate it as the one we want to start with first. So we can go ahead and glue our vellum. Well, actually, I'm sorry. Let's start with the sides here. I'm going to put some glue on the side tab of either one of these and glue that into place. And then the same thing with the other side tab. And glue that into place. And the next thing we're going to do, you would probably want to cover up your work surface if you don't want to get glue all over the place. I'm going to fold this so that it's in the shape of an arrow. And as you can see on one side of it, some of these tabs are shaped a little funny to account for these holes. On the other side, that's the back side because the tabs are a lot more straightforward. So we want to put it face down, and we're going to glue this face down inside, the one with the triangle on it. So to do that, actually, first we want to bend these up straight so they're kind of out of the way. And then I'm going to put a line of glue around the edge of this. And this is where it's going to get a little messy. There's going to be some glue on your work surface, but that is okay. So what we're going to do is just glue that right inside and make the edges follow the curve, make those tabs follow the curve of the shape of the arrow. So I am just pushing it into place with that arrow on the inside, and I'm making those tabs follow the curve of my arrow. It takes a little bit of extra finagling, but it fits just perfectly. And the only problem you might have at this point is some of the glue may have come off, so it doesn't want to take hold, but as long as it's mostly taking hold, you're going to be all set, and we can touch it up from the other side here in just a minute. So as you can see from the other side, some of these little tabs are not taking hold, probably because the glue came off along the way. So it doesn't need to be perfect, but you can kind of glue most of those down if there's some that are not taking hold. Just flip them up, put some glue in there, flip it over, and push down from the inside again. So the next thing you can do is cover this, cover the edges and the whole thing with some more glue, going all the way out to the corners as usual. And then we can take our remaining arrow here with all the holes in it, the large holes, and glue that right on top. So once you've got it positioned where you want it, you can flip it over and carefully push down from the inside to make that take hold. So again, we want these teeth to be out of the way so we can glue our vellum on the inside. And actually, if you really want to really bend them out of the way, right now it's a good time to do that so that we can put our lights inside. Okay, so all those little teeth are out of the way, and I'm going to glue my vellum inside here with some nice dots of glue. So you want to be careful, because if you put too much glue, it's going to show through and be all over the vellum. Not the end of the world, but just get a nice little even layer of glue inside there, and then pop your vellum into place. I wasn't super careful. I've got glue coming out the sides a little bit, but actually what looks really nice anyway is to take a darker red or dark brown ink pad and rub that around the edge anyway, and that's going to cover up any of that glue. So the next thing we can do is start to tape our lights into place. If you want to just kind of like crumple it up and mash it in there, it's wire, so it'll do what you want it to. You can just kind of shove those all in there. Or if you want to get real meticulous, you can tape part of it down. And if you really want to get meticulous, you can take a pencil or something to get that wire kind of out of the way and work your way around. And you can tape each little light behind each little hole if you want to. That is what I did, but I think it would probably look the same if you just bunch it all up and get it inside of there, which I will do right now. So either way, you want to go ahead and tape those inside, or just kind of bunch it up, maybe throw some tape in there just to keep it in place, and then fold all your little teeth back and put the back side into place on your arrow. And then you can go ahead and glue the entire arrow onto your bag, and the wire will just go right through the back hole of the arrow. Then there's one more final panel here on the top of the arrow with smaller holes, and I put that on there with some pop dots, either Zots or pop dots, whatever you want, just to make it pop out. Next, for our star-shaped gift bag, we've got the two sides here that form the sides of the bag, and we want it to be folded, and they're all mountain folds, which means they're folded like a mountain, except for right up here is a valley fold, and right down here is a valley fold. And then on the other side here, this top one is also a valley fold. So we're going to glue them together like this with some glue on this side tab. And then I'm going to, it's going to be shaped like this, and it doesn't matter if it's like this or if it's flipped over. We're going to glue the back side into place. So if we want, we can go ahead and, there's an interior back panel as well as an exterior back panel. So I'm going to glue the exterior back panel into place right now, since it's laying flat. And all 5 sides of the star are the same, so it doesn't matter how you have it oriented. And now we can glue the sides into place. So all I'm going to do is put glue on 2 of these at a time and work my way down until the back is glued onto the sides. So go ahead and glue all of those tabs into place.
Ready when you are.
Okay. So I've got these sides glued onto the back here, and the next thing I'm going to do is glue my interior back panel into place, which finishes it off. It looks cute, and it covers up those tabs nicely. So now we can move on to the white part of our star, and there are 5 pieces that look like this and 5 that look like this. So the way that we want these folded is mountain folds on the side of this one and on the bottom, and then a valley fold up at the top. So all 5 of those are folded that way, and then this other piece here with the circle on the bottom are all folded the same way too, with a valley fold up top, mountain down here, and then the sides are both valley folds. So we will put this together by alternating between one shape like this, one like this. We're going to go all the way around like so. So I'm just gluing them side to side, making sure that I'm alternating between each of those 2 different types of shapes. So go ahead and work your way around, just gluing those all together side to side. So now I've got the white pieces of my star shape here, and this flat piece we want to fold like this all the way around, and then these little tabs here get folded over to create sort of a flat star shape. So it doesn't matter which way it goes, but what we're going to do is glue this onto the front of this white star part. So I'm going to start by putting some glue on any one of these tabs, and I'm going to glue that into place. So all we want to do now is work your way around all of these tabs, gluing this red star onto the front of this white part. So you want your glue to go all the way out to the corners so that it takes hold nicely, and just glue that into place. So go ahead and work your way around, gluing all of them into place. So after you have your red star glued onto the front, it might look kind of flat, so all you want to do is kind of pinch it a little bit so that it looks more dimensional, and then you can go ahead and carefully put some glue on these tabs here, going all the way out to the little corners, and then take your white star and kind of just carefully position it as the glue dries, and then you can flip it over and push down from the inside. So the next thing we want to do is you can take your 5 decorative pieces like this and go ahead and glue those all the way around your star shape. And then you also have, if you want to add this to the center, you can. It's optional. I left it off of mine. And then you can also glue this piece into place all the way around. So again, all 5 sides of the star are the same shape. So you just want to put some glue on the back side of this piece and glue that into place. And then you can go ahead and glue that right here. So to do that, you're just going to go 1 or 2 at a time and just carefully glue these guys into place. So go ahead and work your way around, gluing all of those into place until your face of your bag is in place. And then for the little handle on my finished bag, all I did was take 2 chenille stems, and I left a little bit so I can bend that around, and then I just wrapped one around the other, and it kind of adds to the vintage feel, because there's a lot of cool vintage paper things that use chenille stems. So I've got a little bit left over. You can just leave that or wrap it around. And then if you want to kind of give it a nice curve, then you can just pop it through and twist it around a little bit. Just one little twist should do ya. So next for our box card, you can see I've got the 2 main pieces of the box card here. And if you take a look at your PDF document, it shows you the layout here of this back panel, as well as the inserts, which we'll get to in just a minute. But you can see I went ahead and glued my decorative panels in place here. And then these guys we're going to flip up and glue into place. And then on the other side, I also glued these little panels into place, which are the same color as the flaps. So if you want to emboss those or rub an ink pad around them before you glue them on, that looks nice. And then the white fence with the flowers just goes right onto the back. So there's also a panel on the back here so that you can write something on the back, and it's the same color as these little signs. So if you want to cut that out of white or something close to white and write or stamp on it, you can. So as you can see, I just glued together one of the side tabs here on the box card itself, and I'm gluing the other side tab into place to form the box shape. And then we can take this piece here, which folds like this, and put some glue on the back side of it and glue that into place around the box card, and then glue these up into place on top of it. So once those are in place, if you want to go ahead and put, actually if you want to go ahead and take your insert, as you can see in your PDF, it also shows the inserts, how they are decorated. So this front insert has 3 flowers on it, and for these flowers all I did was kind of just bunch them up a little bit with their petals, because they're supposed to look like morning glories, and then I just glued them right on there. So what you want to do is glue that insert behind, and this flower can either go in front or behind, whatever you want is going to be just great. And then insert number 1, if you look closely, there's a little number 1 on the side there, just to help you, just to sort of designate it, if that helps you at all. So as you can see, I have these tabs folded towards me with glue on them, and I'm going to put that in place with the top of the tab flush with the top of the box and the front of the tab flush with the front of the box. And before the glue is dry, I want to carefully bend it both ways to make sure it's nice and straight and it's going to fold flat. And then I've also got this piece here, and as you can see, I've glued it's the same color, the watering can. It's just like double layers so that it's thicker. And then there's another sign layer that just fits right on top of there, as well as these 2. If you want to stamp something on there, you can do that. So I'm going to fold those tabs away from me with glue on them, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the other insert and make the tab flush with the back of the box as well as the top of the box. And once again, before it's completely dry, just carefully fold it both ways to make sure that it's gonna fold flat. And then you can decorate the centers of your flowers, and if you want to put brads through these holes, that looks pretty cute too. So finally, for our wheelbarrow, I've got the pieces laid out here, and we're just gonna, it's basically like several pieces that just fit together, so we're gonna take them one at a time here. So the two sides look like this. This is one side, and we can go ahead and put this together first. So as you can see, I went ahead and glued my exterior panel on the outside here, and then the interior one on the inside, because it's gonna go like this. So first, I am going to put some glue on this little tab here, and put that into place. And I've really got glue all over my fingers, but that's all right. So then the next thing we want to do is fold this maybe out of the way a little bit and put some glue on these tabs going all the way around. And then just carefully fold this into place on the side and the top, and then carefully fold that curved part into place. So then we can flip it over and push down from the inside on those little triangular shaped tabs. Then we can cover this side with some glue on all of those, and glue the other side into place. So you want to do that with both sides so that you have your two sides of your wheelbarrow here. So next we can create the bottom, which is made up of this very long piece here, as well as these two pieces. So I'm going to put some glue on this little side tab and glue that into place. And then, as you can see, one side looks a little different to account for these holes. So let's go ahead and put glue all on these tabs here. And as you can see, there's a little square area cut out so that those tabs are not in the way of these little square cutouts. And then we can flip it over and press down from the inside. And then cover this with some glue, as usual, going all the way out to the corners. And put the other side into place. So next we can, there are two long pieces that look like this, which form the two handles. So it's basically just a long rectangle with a little square cut out there. So we can, on this side of it here, we want to put some glue here on this little rectangle, as well as this long side tab, and carefully bend that into place, as well as this little top section. And we can bend it both ways since it lays flat, and make sure it's nice and straight. And then put some glue on these little tiny tabs and fold that over into place. as well as on this other side. So those are our two handles. We can set those aside. And then there are two pieces that look like this as well as like this. So I'm going to glue this into place right onto this one. And this, we want this little part to be folded over. And then we can put some glue on that side tab and fold that into place. And again, you can fold it flat so it's, you know, it's nice and straight. And then fold this top part over. You can be more careful with your glue so you don't get it all over yourself like I am. Unless you enjoy getting glue all over yourself, which is not the most fun, but it's okay. So now you can do the same thing with the other one. So we've got two like that. And then this one shape is basically just a flat little box, which we can fold into place. And then the two sides get folded, glued into place like this, as well as the other side. And you want to make sure that it's a flat, nice little flat box. And then this final piece here, I'm going to put some glue on the end. And fold that around. And then put some glue on these little tabs. Fold that over. And the same thing on the other side. Fold that into place. Nice flat little shape. And then we can take our wheel, which is made up of this long piece here and another similar shape here. This is what's going to go through the center of the wheel. So I just put some glue on that side tab there. And a little glue on those small tabs. Fold the side over and do the same thing on the other side. So we have a nice little rectangular box shape. So then for our wheel, we've got the two faces of our wheel, and then these are interior parts. So first we want to work with these two. They're identical. So we want to take this long piece, and there's a little score line there just as a guideline. So you can wrap that around and line it up with the little line. And then it doesn't matter which side, we want to bend all these little teeth over. And for the next step, if you would like to cover up your work surface with some kind of scrap paper or something, that would be a good idea, because we're going to put that face down, and then I'm going to put a line of glue around the edge of this. And the reason there's a tiny little circle cut out is just to designate it as the one that you want to put on the inside. So I'm just gonna carefully put that inside, and it fits perfectly, and it helps just round out a perfect circle. So I'm just pushing down from the inside there. And then we can go ahead and glue one of our wheel faces onto the front. And I went ahead and glued my decorative panels on my wheel. And just pop that right into place and push down on a clean area of your table. And then we can bend about half of those over and put a line of glue around the edge of the other interior wheel piece. And you know it's the interior because there's that little tiny circle. And we want that glue facing up. And you kind of want the spokes to be aligned the same way on both sides. So I'm going to put that inside with the glue towards me. And you want to make sure that the square is lined up there. So before that glue dries too much, I want to fold all these teeth over and then pull it forwards a little bit. And if you have a little pencil or a stylus handy, now is a good time to pull that out and use that to push from the inside. You can use your fingernail, but it's a lot easier if you have something smaller than your finger to use, like a stylus or something. And it's not perfectly, all those teeth are not perfectly glued down, but that's okay. We're going to put a nice fat line of glue all the way around, and that should do the trick. So we want to make sure again that center square is lined up all the way through, and glue that right into place. And if you need to, again, kind of push down on that interior one from the other side. There is your wheel, and this goes right through the center. If it's kind of tough to get through, just kind of wiggle it back and forth a little bit. And my interior wheel is kind of, I didn't glue it down perfectly, but you get the idea. So the next thing we want to do is, we've also got one final square left. That's just a decorative piece you can emboss and put on at the end. So next you want to take this shape here, which is the front. It's the front of the wheelbarrow. And when you look at it from the top, it's kind of angled out on the sides. So then you know that this is the front. So if you flip it over and it's leaning forward, you want it to be, when it's sitting flat, you want it to be leaning backwards a little bit with these two sides coming out, and then you know that this is the top. So then we can put a line of glue on the top and take this piece here and glue that right onto the top. So you want to hold that for a little bit as it dries, and then you want to take one of the sides and put some glue on the front of it and glue that to the side here so that it's flush along this area here, and it's also flush along the bottom. So if you want to hold that for a little while as it dries, and then you can take your other side and do the same thing on the other side of that piece. So again, it's flush along the side there and at the bottom. So you just want to hold it for a little bit of extra time so that it definitely dries in the right place, and then we'll move on to the next part. So now the next thing we want to do is take our two handles here, and there are these two cutouts. We want those facing each other, and I'm going to put a dot of glue on either side of that part of the wheel, and I'm gonna insert that in there and kind of wiggle it around if it's not going in easily, but it should fit in just perfectly on both sides. And then we want to take this part, these two we want facing down, and I'm going to put a line of glue on both sides, and then carefully, without getting too much glue all over, we want this to be inside here so that there's about that much of a gap between the wheel and that piece there. You want to make sure that it's nice and flat and flush. And I kind of got glue all over the place, but if you want to set this on the side of your work table so that it's nice and flat and you can carefully squeeze it together as it's flat while it dries, and then just give it a couple extra seconds to dry. So now the next thing we're going to do is put some glue along the bottom of the sides and the front, and we're going to glue that right into place. It kind of helps if this is flat, if you want to put it on the edge of your table, but we want the front of it to be lined up with the front of the bottom, and we want the sides to be lined up along the handle there. So again, just give that a few extra moments to dry before you let go of it. And then if you want to put your embossed decorative piece on the front, you can. Then all that's left to do is put the bottom pieces into place. So this part here is on the outside, so we want to put a dot of glue here and insert that into that hole, and then put some glue here on this little tab and glue that into place. So go ahead and do that with the other leg, and it should look like this on the bottom. So there you have it, really fun projects for summer and beyond. I hope you have an awesome time making them, and if you do, you'll have to share a picture on our Facebook wall so we can see, and so all of our other crafty friends can see too, or post it on Instagram or on your blog or pin it on Pinterest. Really, however you want to do it, we just love seeing your projects. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time, and happy crafting.